Hi, Lily.
Good day. Afternoon,
Hi,
good morning.
everybody out there in TV land. This
Hi.
is Tiera TV with Lily Lash. And Lily and I, we've known each other for a long time now. And I introduced Lily to human design, like kind of right after I found it, or it found me. And so we've been cohorts for a long time in learning and practicing and experimenting and connecting and sharing with one another. And we have a lot of fun and we laugh and we help each other see ourselves. And we've talked for a long time about doing what we're about to do today. And we'll see if we like what we're about to do. And our intention is that this will be a little beginner um, talk on human design. And so let's see what I'm about to say. We talked a little bit before we began, and we both shared that we think we're going to go too advanced too quick. So let's see if we can keep ourselves with what can really be relevant to people who are new to human design. So human design is a revealed knowledge that was given to a man called Robert Krakauer in 1987. Is that right? In a mystical event. And he had the phenomenal, like to me, unimaginable ability to structure a mystical, way out there event where he thought he was going mad into a logical, practical system, which is usable by anyone who wants it. And the main thing about human design that's so practical is that it gives each of us a specific strategy to move through life so that we don't meet resistance. How about that? And an inner authority so that we can make decisions from the inside rather than listening to, mommy and daddy and God and church and teachers and experts and all those things that just fill our minds with what may not be relevant to us at all. Would you like to say anything now, Lily, about anything about strategy and authority?
Well, I liked what you said. That was cool. Um, well, strategy and authority, strategy to me is the first thing to
Cool.
familiarize yourself with and to experiment with. At least I can say for me, that was huge. Someone asked recently, like, what is the one thing you can say right now that really changed your world when you met human design? And for me, it was strategy. And the reason for me is that it gave me time to disengage the mind from telling me what everybody else told my mind that I should be. And
Yeah,
that goes, like you said, parents and society and boyfriends, girlfriends,
right.
uh, friends, all that stuff. Everyone has their opinions and their outlook on life, which may not be correct for you. So that really helped me to start seeing myself because it slowed up that process of what I receive from others.
Nice. And you, Lily, are a projector. I'm a generator. We're both emotionally defined. And my strategy as a generator is wait to respond. And the strategy for a generator, as I see it, is really the most natural thing in the world because I'm meant to respond. I'm designed to respond. My mind can get in the way and tell me I need to make something happen or I need to be proactive or get upset because it looks like nothing's happening. But if I don't get overly involved in my thoughts, I'm responding to everything all the time. I'm responding to a little whiff of air that comes in. It's almost like life is doing this and my body is doing a little response dance. Um, and so for generators, and we'll get into authorities, which has to do with the emotional part in a minute, but for generators, if we can just take the risk and be brave enough to stop thinking that we have to do something. Just wait. Wait and let life make the first move. Now, it's not a formal thing. We're going to get to the formal thing in the projectors. You know, life making the first move for me could be I'm walking along the street and I see a sign or, you know, even graffiti on the wall that says something and I go, oh, I would love that. You know, that's a response. Someone like Lily could say something to me on the phone and I'm, you know, I can have a response. I can have a response to anything. It's an informal, life just has to make the first move, that it's not coming from my mind trying to figure something out to make something happen. So to me, that's what response is. Do you have anything, first of all, Lily, about generators? Because you as a projector look at us all the time.
Yeah.
So if you want to add anything to that that I might not have touched on, and then I'd also love to hear your perspective on the strategy of a projector, which is really important.
Yeah. Well, the one thing I was observing when you were explaining is that your body was very animated. And
Mm.
and I've noticed that over the years, and I've noticed that with other generators, that it's the body response that I see rather than the mind. So their body will move a certain way or lean forward, or you could just feel it go, huh, type of thing. So when you feel it in the body, or and you can see it in the body, then you know that there's a true response there. But when it comes from the mind, their body kind of just stays still and they just start talking. And that's a difference that so far that I've noticed in generators. And you can trust you can trust that. You can trust that response.
And it's a
That
practice of trusting.
practice, and it builds upon itself. Yeah.
Yes.
And that's what I have to say about that thus far. And for my strategy
Hold on one
is to,
second, because you just reminded me of something. You deepened me. One of the things that we're taught in human design for generators is that if we are asked yes, no questions, that's a way to access our sacral response. If you have a sacral center, you are a generator. Maybe a manifesting generator, but you're a generator. And what that sounds like is this. Would you like to ask me some yes, no questions, Lily?
would you like me to ask you some yes, no questions?
Uh-huh. Nice one.
You want me to continue?
Uh-huh. Just ask me a few. Ask me like things that you know there's three responses actually that the sacral can have. There's uh-huh, there's and there's which is I don't know. Or mm.
Yeah. Um, I can't think of any right now.
Ask me places I might like or not like.
Do you like Madrid?
Like
Do you like Spain?
uh-huh.
Do you like South America? Uh, do you like France?
Uh-huh.
Um, do you like the United States?
Uh,
You like New York City?
uh-huh.
I'm asking you questions I know you're going to say
I
yes
know.
to, right?
Ask me something you think I won't like. Let's see if we can get a no response so we can hear what that sounds like.
Oh, well, um, do you, let me think of a place that, do you like Portland, Oregon?
Uh-uh.
And I want to point out here is as a projector, you can feel the energy of those responses, the truth of the responses. Now they might change, who knows, some of the questions, but in this moment, that is the truth. And that's what you, I can trust. And that's so nice. It's so relieving to have that. Because when you meet a generator that is really in their mind, it's really intense. It can be very
Bad
intense.
juju.
And yeah, so do you have something else to say?
Yeah, I just want to say one more thing about that, that what I see is that with sacral responses, it's not just the sound, or like that. There's literally an energy that goes whoop, or it goes or just goes flat. Flat line is just that it doesn't apply right now. And so for people who feel shy to make those sounds, you can still feel, if someone says, do you love art? You can feel the movement of yes going forward versus the movement of no kind of retreating from whatever that question is. So it's really, it is, as you're saying, Lily, it's in the body.
Would you say that sacral energy, it's a motor
Yes.
and not an awareness center. So it's a
No.
motor that has a lot of energy, right? And it runs all the time.
It runs all the
And
time.
so a generator asks themselves, who am I, right? And so you have all this energy to find out who you are because you're responding all the
Yeah.
time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It
And
shows me who I am. That's a good one.
it feels very primal, like just the creative life force itself that a generator is connected to.
Yeah.
And
And one thing also, I'm sorry, I think I interrupted.
that's okay. We'll just keep going.
Well, I wanted to put in there, this is a little deeper into human design, but I think it's important because it's easy to think a generator is a generator is a generator. And the energy that any generator has is going to show in the definition they have. So whatever channel, especially, is creating that generator, that is the type of energy. And then there's
Yes,
also gates, even if they don't have a channel, those are the type of energy. So for me, I actually have 3 channels out of my sacral center, and I have tons of energy. I have more energy than most people I know. I have emotional energy because I'm a 59-6, so I have the motor of energy connected to emotion. I have root adrenalized energy because I'm a 52-9, which is the format channels. They have this, it's very strong. It's this energy coming up. In my case, with the logic, it's stillness. So I have this energy to concentrate and be still. And then I'm a 29-46, which is energy to discover. That one's kind of my favorite a lot of times because it's just like, what's in the world for me to see? What's in the world for me? So that is the type of energy I have. Whereas people with different channels in the sacral will have a different quality of that motorized energy in their life.
that's good.
Yeah.
Because it's just taking that energy and creating your world or world to find out who you are and to build something different, than what the homogenized version is that we have
Right.
seen
Right.
boringly much, over time.
Exactly.
Um, yeah, that's how I look at it anyway. So you want awareness behind that energy. Um, so
Awareness of the energy anyway.
an awareness of the energy, just by what you explained, is an awareness that most,
Yeah. Thank you.
yeah.
So projectors are seemingly a little more complex. There's, how many kinds are there? There's a classic projector, an energy projector, a self projector. I guess that would be classic. A mental projector.
Mental, those
Maybe
4.
there's just 3. But they're all very, very different. Projectors are the most diversified. Would that be a thing to say?
Yes, you
Okay.
could have with different combinations.
However, they all have the same strategy. And this will hand to Lily, our projector. Would you share with us about that projector strategy?
So first of all, to be a projector, you cannot have a defined sacral
That's right.
or a motor to the throat. So there's four
Yep.
motors, and the motors are the root, the sacral, the emotional, and the ego or the will, right? So those motors cannot have a line to the throat, like a channel, because that makes you then a manifester if you don't have a sacral defined. So all projectors do not have access motor to the throat. So that's why they're called non-energy types. But they have energy, but they're the non-energy type. They can't directly go directly to manifesting or responding, basically.
Generating. Yeah, that's right.
So they ask, who are you? The generators ask, who am I? The projectors ask, who are you? And
Which
in
means
order to,
Lily and I both want to know me.
yeah, that's right. But I want to know me. So it's a myth that we can't, we're
That's right.
not,
And that's important.
but we can, it's through the other that we know ourselves. Who are we with? Who are we hanging out with? And do they recognize me? Because if they don't recognize me, then they'll just look at me in a kind of a homogenized version or a projected version. And so our aura is penetrating. So we're penetrating into people, especially generators. And so if we're taking in their energy, we want that energy to be come back to us as and that we're recognized for our talents and who we are. And the way to that is a formality to it. It's a formal recognition of that particular projector. It's just not projectors across the board like it can be for generators. We'll give the example of we're all together and somebody says, let's go out for pizza, right? And the generators respond,
Huh? Eh,
yeah, and they're responding. A projector is, am I meant to be with these people now, right? And so somebody could look at them and go, would you like to go to we would love to have you because you add such depth, let's say. I mean, they may not say that, but whatever it is that they recognize in you that is true, then you go, I belong with this group, and it's going to go swimmingly well, or is going to have something for that projector. They're going to have a job to do, which is to guide the energy. So that formal invitation, that formal recognition is not a straitjacket, formal, like this. It's just a recognition of who that projector is and what do they have to offer. And then when you see that, when a projector sees that recognition back, they learn something about themselves. Either they feel the keynoting is success or bitterness, right? So the bitterness, if they're feeling bitter, then something's off, something's not right. So the projector needs more cues to know what's correct for them. And so that cue starts with strategy, and that is wait for that formal invitation. Then you go to your inner authority to see if it's correct or not. But you wait because we want to belong, we want to be seen, we want to be heard, and we'll almost in our not self, we'll do anything for that. We'll whore ourselves out for that. Should I say that?
Well, and there's a symbiotic relationship, isn't there, between generators and projectors? And when it's working, the generator provides energy to the projector, the non-energy type, and the projector gives attention to the generator so they can know themselves. And in that process, the projector knows themselves as well. And what can happen that is really unfortunate for projectors is that generators can just really like that attention, but not care about who it's coming from.
Yes.
And that's when the projector can really be at risk, because I just want your attention and I want your attention and I want your attention, and now I feel really good about myself because you see me and I'm so great, but I haven't even noticed you at all, and then I leave or I hang up the phone or whatever, and you're left with actually nothing and even a deficit. Would that be a correct thing to say?
It's like a recovery. You have to
Yeah,
recover
and
from
then yeah.
that.
And the
Uh,
last thing a projector needs is to lose energy, because they're a non-energy type. And so that's why understanding the formal invitation, and by formal, it means recognizing that person. So like if I were to say to Lily, hey, you want to go for a run on the beach with me? And all I really want is for Lily to be there so that I can talk to someone and kind of forget that I'm running. But that's not about Lily. I don't think Lily is a runner. That has nothing to do with Lily. So she could come with me because, in the past, in the not self, in her just wanting energy, she could go running with me, and that could end up really taking energy from her, and she wouldn't get anything from me because I didn't even see Lily. But if I were to say to Lily, and I'm going to soon, hey, Lily, you want to go to that museum? I really love how you look at art and how you point things out to me, and how we laugh together, and how I actually see more in a lot of art when I'm with you. So I would love to go to the art museum with you. And that's actually really true. And I noticed that you actually got a little more energy in your face. There was a little more color, because that's real. That's me
yeah.
wanting to be with who Lily is. Now, that doesn't mean, and here's the really tricky thing, it doesn't mean she has to say yes because it was a formal invitation and I'm recognizing her. It could it could be still the wrong time for her to go to the museum with me. And that's an even deeper layer that is important for a projector, because if she goes with me just because it was the right invitation and I did see her and she really liked that, but if it's still not right, she'll still not be successful in whatever happens. She could still end up bitter.
Right. And so you start with the strategy, then you go to your inner authority.
There
That
you
would be
go. What a great
that,
segue.
yeah, that's the head honcho there. Yeah. Um, so you're right. And for a projector, even a correct recognition, it would, if say it wasn't correct for me, that recognition still gives me energy,
Very good. That's nice.
but it doesn't mean I have to go. But that takes time to get in touch with inner authorities. So we can
Yeah.
maybe talk about that.
Yeah, let's go to inner authority. There are a number of inner authorities, and they actually um I can't think of myself.
Hierarchy. Hierarchy.
A hierarchy of them, where if you have this one, if you have this, then this is the first thing that is your inner authority. And the top of the hierarchy, in a sense, is the emotional authority, which both Lily and I have. And it can be really challenging to have an emotional authority. What it means is that you have to wait for clarity. When you have emotional definition, it means that you have a life that is built on a wave of up and down emotions, up and down, up and down. And it's always moving. It never stops. It's, like the ocean never stops moving. It may be calm, but it doesn't stop moving. And so the whole thing about having emotional definition is that you don't make quick decisions, because you could have an opportunity to do something, and you could be really high, way excited and happy, and and go, yeah, I'll go there and do that. And but then when you drop down, you might realize, oh, why did I do that? That just I meant to be doing this whole other thing and I forgot about it. And now I'm blah. Or you could be really low on the wave, get an opportunity and go, yeah, I'll do that. And then again go, oh my God, what am I doing here? Where am I? What's going on? With a projector, that not waiting for clarity can end up in bitterness, and for a generator, it can end up in frustration. A manifester can become angry when they make poor decisions, and well, reflectors never have emotional authority, but they'd be disappointed. So emotional authority says, wait till you've gone up and you've gone down and you reach a point of clarity. It's relative clarity. It's not clarity like I see in like splenic people or ego people. Like there's this kind of crisp or sacral generator people with that is their strategy. There's like kind of a crisp knowing. It's kind of still a little like this in the clarity. But the way I've come to recognize clarity is that I'm not nervous because the emotional system and the nervous system are connected. So if I'm nervous, I'm not clear. And if I'm clear, I'm not nervous. Sometimes I'm just always nervous. And it's not like you have to be waiting for clarity on every little thing. It's important decisions. I don't have to wait a few days if someone says you want to go for coffee. I can just go, uh-huh, and see my body walk to the coffee shop. But if it's a decision that really is going to shift the trajectory of my life, I better wait or I'm going to end up going the wrong direction. You want to say some more about emotions, Lily?
I find that interesting too about it's for big decisions. I can say for me, I'm trying to tease apart the emotional clarity and the example of do I want to go for coffee? Because I have to really take a little time to see if I'm in the mood. Um, is there a clarity there? Um, and the emotional wave, when you come through to relative clarity, I used to think it was kind of like a flat line. It's like, oh, that's it feels empowering when you come to that emotional clarity. There is a feeling to it and a sense to it. It's not like um, nothing. It's something, but it's not
It's
up
almost
here to
more a fullness.
a fullness. And like there could be excitement to it, but that doesn't mean you're on a high wave because you're like you have a passion or an excitement to it. Um, and the waiting is not like dead space. While you're waiting, you're pursuing something else, like an interest of some kind, or read a book or listen to a movie or something, or watch a movie. Um, and the wave, um, what helped me um, to realize that I have emotional waves because mine's unconscious. So when it's red, it's unconscious. When anything's black, it's there's an awareness to its personality. It's more conscious. We're flying through space, right? And it's a spiral, and we keep we're spiraling through space. So as we're talking, we're in a different place in space, you and I. Everyone is. And so here it is, the invitation at this point in time and space. And you keep going and you wait because there is pieces that have not arrived yet for the wholeness of that decision. And until you spiral and you come back to the same point, but you're not here anymore. You're here, and there's a clarity here. There wasn't here. And
Because you've got things along the way.
because you got things along the way. It's like the whole pie rather than a piece of the pie. And when I heard that, I went, I want the whole pie. I don't want a please. I'm a glutton, I want it. So that really
Kind
helped
of
me to,
pie.
well, it changes for me, but
Right.
chocolate peanut butter cream pie, that would be a good one. Um, and so that made waiting worthwhile for me instead of, I don't want to, type of thing. Not that I don't go there at times. So
Well, yeah.
yeah, so a being that has an emotional authority, they're just have a just different sense of time and to honor that because everybody else doesn't want you to. They want you to go, come on, come on. What do you want now? Now, now. And there is no now. There is there is no truth in the now for an emotional being. And some people might go, well,
And what I have found for me, and it's interesting because I'm a emotional generator, and because I'm a generator and I can respond to sacral questions, um, particularly sacral generators whose authority and strategy is basically the same. It's wait to respond and get a yes, no in the moment, right? And
mm.
sacral generators, all they want to do is ask me a yes, no question and think that's my answer. And actually that can be really frustrating to me. And I find I have to educate, because one of the things that I find is the most helpful for me, I don't know if this is true for all emotional people or all emotional generators even, is is that I process it. It's not just that I'm waiting in a vacuum until clarity arrives one day. I'm actually processing it. So, you know, well, I was I was offered this idea to go to um Helsinki. I'm not clear about going to Helsinki, so I might call you, Lily, or I might call another friend and just need to talk through it. Well, if I go to Helsinki, I'd certainly want to go in the summer because that's when it's all light, not all dark, and that would be way more fun. And if I could I get there on the train, and the train would be, I'll go through this whole piece. It may not give me any clarity in that conversation, but it gives me part of the pie as I'm going around. And someone could even ask me, do you want to go to Helsinki? And I could go, uh-huh. But that doesn't mean it's a yes. It just means in this revolution of the spiral, I have energy toward the idea of Helsinki. And I still have to wait till it moves through its revolutions to get the full clarity that would get me to buy a ticket, for example.
So how I'm going to ask you, how do you deal with, not deal, what could you say about the sacral response and then needing the time for clarity because the sacral is so quick. So you do have sacral responses. Could you speak more to that relationship that they have? Is that a
Yeah,
clear?
I my sacral responses have very much to do with preferences, maybe. Never thought of that before. But they also give me a clue. Rather than give me an answer, they give me a clue. So if I called you and I said, "Hey, I was invited to go to Helsinki, can I talk it over with you?" The other thing that I have found is important for me, and you see this one a little differently, so you can speak about this too, Lily, is that if someone's talking to me about a decision I'm making, I want them to be interested. It helps me if the questions someone comes up with really have to do with my process, not just they're there kind of being a sounding board, but I'm talking it through. It's like, well, Tiara, I don't know. Would you like to be on that many trains? Would you even like to fly if you couldn't afford to do all the trains? Because that's me. That's like helping me see me rather than just this, let me talk it out. That doesn't do me as much good in my process. But in that process, you or someone could say, are you interested in going to Finland? Would you like to see more of Scandinavia? And if I go, eh, that might give me reason to doubt that there's even a whole process to go through. Depending on also how that felt in me and where I am, was I in a good mood, a bad mood, whatever that is. But mostly sacral responses are for things that aren't that direction changing, I would say. Like my sacral, the way my sacral responds a lot is just in the moment I'll be walking around and I'll just get to a corner before I decide which way I'm going to go. And then my body will turn this way or that way, or it'll go straight. And so it's like, it's kind of just like in the moment of the moment, my body can be in charge of where I'm going and what direction I'm taking. But if it's a decision, then my sacral can show me where I'm at in any given moment. And this is true for sacral generators also. Like I have a friend who's in the process of possibly going to another country, and I talk to him every few days and ask him if it's correct for him. And so far, he's yes all the time. And so for that, that's just the answer for him until he goes or not. For me, it's just a little glimpse of where I'm at in the turn of the spiral. Finland, uh, hmm. It gives me feedback on where I'm at in my body about doing something that's been asked of me.
Wow, that's really good. Because it is a motor, and what you're counterbalancing is what the mind is trying to tell you.
Exactly.
So it has all these, like, you got this invitation and you like this person that invited you, and whatever the stories may be. So the response mechanism of the motor of the sacral just gives you a hint of where you're at.
Yeah.
But that time needed as a generator, now you need to take some time from 5 minutes to 5 days, whatever, through your emotional field of.
Yes. And the other thing I've noticed, and there might be generators listening to this who will be appalled, but
Go
one of
for
the
it.
things I've noticed for me in making decisions is that when I'm in this process of just talking things over with someone, I actually like it if someone will go, Tiera, I really think you should go to Helsinki. I think you'll super like it there. Because that also gives me something to respond to. It's another part of they're actually looking at me rather than just asking some generic sacral question. They're going, I really think you'd like it. And if my sacral goes, ew, then that gives me great information. Or if my sacral goes, that gives me other information. So it's not just if I'm talking to someone, I want them to be in this kind of generic, is it correct for you to go? Should you go now? No, it's like, be in this process with me and get nuanced with me. Tell me what's coming up for you, because every piece of it gives me something to respond to.
Well, I'd like to ask you then, in the beginning of your process or your experiment, because it's been what, 15 years now or something
Yeah.
like that? Would that have set you off track? Somebody else's thoughts? No? Because I'm sure that people listening to this that they have that they're building a foundation to get used to their response in their body and whatever their inner authority is. So that's why I asked
Yeah,
you.
I think it could send people off if they're people pleasers, particularly, if that's one of their um identifiers that they've been in their life, being nice, being a people pleaser, wanting to avoid confronting people. I just happen to be someone who who's pretty in touch with what I like and don't like and want and don't want. So I would never, even in the beginning, if someone said, I think you should go there, if I didn't like it, that wouldn't, even before human design, have made me go somewhere. So,
So
but I
it's,
think it's a good caution for some people.
yeah. So for that genre of human beings, or it's, that, what would you tell them how to build up their trust in their sacral?
I think the only way to do it is practice.
Yeah.
Human design, and this is important. Human design is an experiment. It's not about believing Ra. It's not about believing us. It's not about believing whoever told you about human design. It's an experiment. And it's a experiment decision by decision. And so the the biggest thing is taking the risk and being courageous enough to go, okay, I'm going to actually do it this way. And maybe you give yourself a week, you know, um, and you just go, okay, even if that person that I've been attracted to for 3 years who's never noticed me calls me up tomorrow and asks me on the perfect date I've always wanted to go on, I'm going to say I don't know and wait for clarity. Even though I think I might miss the thing I've wanted all my life, I'm going to say I have to wait for clarity and just take a risk, because what's my life can only I can only have the life I'm born to live if I'm living according to who I am. Otherwise, yeah, I could go on a great date and I could even get everything I think I wanted, but if it's not what's for me, then it won't lead me to satisfaction. It won't lead Lily to success, which is the keynote for projectors and generators. So that's all you can do. You can only make it an experiment. And if it works, you keep going. Because I mean, I guess if it works and you don't keep going, then it wasn't for you.
Yeah.
But most people, if we find something that's practical and works and lands in us, we'll keep experimenting. It's still an experiment. 15 years in, it's an experiment every day. I'm pretty in.
Yeah, you are.
When I was about 3 years in my experiment, I met someone who was 10 years in theirs, but all they knew, I'm like, I go deep, 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 and I learn everything I can. I want to hear every word Ra ever said, right? This woman, all she knew was her strategy and authority. That's all she needed. She didn't know anything else about human design, but she was living correctly for herself. That's all she needed.
That's the beauty of generators in that sense, where
Yeah,
if when there's less resistance within people's lives in the world, then there's less tension and less anxiousness and
that's right.
more empowerment. And Ra always said it's one person at a time, but it can spread like wildfire too, depending upon who is infected, I guess. For a projector, that's not quite true. They really need more than strategy and authority. They need to go deep into the knowledge and into the experiment because they're here to guide, and they need to know energy systems. So whatever the energy system is, it could be running the local power plant, but you need to know that how that energy flows and how it works, and you can guide that energy to your local next door neighbor generator, type of thing.
It was a power plant.
There's definitely little power plants walking everywhere. And so I want to put that out there for projectors that we don't really get to have it that simple,
No,
but
it's not that
it
simple.
also is a lovely life, and I wouldn't want to change it at all. I love being a projector. It took me a while to actually come to love and accept being what they call a non-energy type. I've got energy. I am an energy type projector as well. That's one of the types, but now I know that that it is the relationship to the other. It's like a circuit that keeps,
Yeah.
flowing through. It's a circuit. It's just not one way. It's a circuit. And that's what they call the generator dance. And that's what's so beautiful. So I'm just saying that to the projectors listening out there.
Yeah. One of the things that um, I attempt to practice with you, Lily, because I feel so connected with you. It's like I've known you forever, little Big Bang fractals. And I practice seeing you as a projector first, um, as a respect, so that I don't just put you in a generic category of friend. And I don't always remember to do it. Tell us the thing, Lily, about the dogs, that you see them first as this and then this, if you want to treat your dog respectfully.
They're an animal first,
Animal.
breed second, and pet third.
Yeah. And so, because some people just see their dog as a pet and they're not really recognizing and respecting that first they're an animal and second they're a breed. They're a certain type. So the
Mhm.
breed for us would be our type. I'm a generator, you're a projector. There are also manifestors and reflectors. And because I don't even have projected channels, which some of you out there in TV land may understand, I really have no inherent awareness of what it is to be a projector. And so when I think of my dear friend Lily first as a projector, it just reminds me to take one little step back and see her. I don't even know how to say it. So here's an example. I don't know, I don't have a word for this. It took me a long time, and I'm still learning that Lily doesn't respond like I do. Like I'll say an idea to Lily, and and she just does this thing of taking it in, but I don't see anything happen. Whereas people give me ideas, and usually a sound will happen or something happens. Huh, even if it's that. And for a long time, I would get frustrated about that. Like I want to give you a thought and have you respond to it right now. But that's not what happens in a projector. And so me seeing Lily first as a projector reminds me, there it is. It reminds me not to expect something that isn't about Lily, because that right there is anti-recognition. And the food and drink and wealth beyond measure for projectors is to be seen, is to be recognized, because it's when we can recognize a projector for who that specific person is that we can receive the gift and they can give the gift. And then they receive energy and we receive guidance. And then the world works better.
It really does. And that was very eloquent. Uh, and the more the projectors when you get into the experiment and you build up that knowledge and that empirical evidence of the experiment, what's true for you, um, it's it's imperative that projectors create boundaries and that they demand respect.
Yes.
Um, and the more you start to respect yourself, and that goes for any type really, but for projectors in particular, the more I respect that I am a projector and I have something to offer. And I know when I have experience when it's been correct. And I've experienced when it hasn't been correct. Nobody's at fault. It's just the mechanics. But I can say, no, that's no, you're you're not seeing me. Or you could say, not that person, but that person. And that way you start to find who you are amongst all this generated field of confusion. you
Yeah.
know. So yeah, I would that demanding respect, getting the best deal you can in this life as a projector, because you're here to give something. And we are new on the scene since 1781, to my understanding. So,
Mhm.
so give yourself a little leeway and a little slack. That is all so confusing, and I'm not quite sure. Am I doing it right, or am I in my head, or am I in my authority? It just takes time, and of course, the people around you can help, in that way by recognizing you and encouraging you.
Yeah.
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 And you do that for me. And it's important. Otherwise, I don't think we'd be hanging out. So,
Yeah, that's right. I'd have been aced out. Boom. Oh, you want more? I
so I want to ask you, and I want to interrupt your thoughts. I know you're,
That's all right.
um, how much time do you want to give these moments?
Well, I was just actually thinking that this feels like a good little piece. So
Yeah.
I think that this can be what we did today. I just had one, I was aware of myself as you were talking, and I'm someone who's very aware of my body. I always have been. I would say predominantly a physical type of person. And I can just feel like if I close my eyes and feel myself, I can just feel that I am an energetic thing that's kind of going like that. And I don't know if there's any equivalent, like for a projector, like if you close your eyes and just feel your system, Lily, is there something that feels projectory? I've never asked Lily this anything like this before, so I have no idea if there's even any
I can
relevance.
I can feel the penetrating aura. I can feel it arrive
Okay.
in the room before I even this body arrives. I can just
So you can feel that, yeah,
it's a it's
like a
a beam.
laser. Yeah. So just to go, we'll maybe we can finish with this, that there are aura types. So if whatever type you are does have a certain energy body, which is called an aura, it's not like the colory thing that you think of in the new age. It's actually how your energy body works. For a generator is called open enveloping. It's kind of like a big hug. We just kind of hug everything that comes toward us, let it go if it's incorrect. It's open. The projector, as Lily's been speaking to, is penetrating and absorbing. So whatever a projector puts their energy toward, they go deep, deep into it. If it's a person, it goes right into their G center, not generator, G center in the sternum direction. Boom, identity. And then they absorb whatever they put their attention on. And that's another reason that projectors can be vulnerable, because if they start absorbing someone who doesn't recognize them or see them, then they get even more out of kilter. A manifester's aura is closed and repelling. It pushes out. That's why they can manifest, because they close in and then push out from themselves. It's manifestation. And a reflector, who are really, in a sense, here to be barometers of the whole system. They have it's a
Teflon.
Teflon, but there's another word that's
You,
kind of this, huh?
oh, kind of rolls off. I don't know.
Yeah, it rolls off, but there's a word. I can't remember the word right now. But yeah, the reflector aura is just kind of it rolls things off. It doesn't take things way in, it doesn't push off. It just kind of has this little surface. We call it Teflon, but there's another word that's the proper formal word. And one more thing about generators is when we try to make things happen, when we try to manifest before having responded, what we do is we take that open aura, we close it and start pushing out, and then life can't find us because what life is here for generators in a sense, because we're kind of just this energy of life. And so the way that life can find us to offer us something to respond to is if we stay open and wait, not if we're pushing out, pushing out, pushing out, trying to make things happen all the time. And with projectors, if you're pushing out into the wrong person, you're going to meet a lot of resistance because projectors see deeply into other people. And if we're not ready to hear what that projector has to say, and we haven't asked and we haven't invited that awareness that projectors have, it can feel so invasive and they can end up so bitter because they do see. But just because you see doesn't mean you get to say.
There's a lot to see and say, but you want at the right moments, the correct moments.
That's
And there's nothing more beautiful and more fulfilling and successful than that.
That's right.
Like you eat the wrong food and you get indigestion when you offer something when it's not been asked for, even though you can see, even though you know.
That's right. That's right.
No, it doesn't matter because it's not the right, it's
Just
not the
wait,
right
wait for the
thing.
invitation.
Yeah, we're part of that timings,
That's right. That's right.
and it
So
relieves a lot of stress.
I like us. I think we did good.
We did good, but no, it's no but. We did good,
What was the but?
but I don't know.
Oh, we don't have to know. Lily, there's a little aside. Lily has a gate that knows and doesn't know. So that just
Yeah,
popped out of her. Little 23 you.
just just be curious about if anything hit home for you.
Curious.
Just be curious about it and not serious.
Curious and brave.
Curious, not serious.
Yeah, there we go. I like that. Okay. Goodbye,
Okay,
people out there in TV land.
nice to be with ya. You stop it?
I thought I did, but it didn't stop.